did they take one of my socks? What was that place? Oh, I remember what I was doing. Okay. All right. Oh, wow, that was weird. Anyway, okay. Whew. Okay, where was I? Ah, yes. My United American Video Public Domain VHS collection. The time has come for me to transition into my own personal experience and connection with this subject matter. Now that I've been permanently scarred by learning about the reputations of these companies that were putting together my kids' content. My God, I guess I should be grateful. Now I know those tapes I so coveted could have had porn on them, or creepy kids club advertisements that could have got me mixed up in some beauty pageant drama. My life is a lie. In my case, I owned 8 public domain cartoon VHS tapes. At least as far as I can remember. The only one that was not a UAV release was a VHS tape I had of Hector Heathcote cartoons that was put out by Video Treasures, which later became Anchor Bay Entertainment. With the other 7 tapes being UAV, 5 of them were part of their Cartoon Classics series, of which there were 9 tapes in total, at least as far as I know. Each of these tapes contained 4 public domain cartoons. I never had the Superman, Popeye, Porky Pig, or the Foghorn Leghorn Tweety Bird tapes. I owned the Bugs Bunny tape, which included Wabbit Who Came to Supper, Wacky Wabbit, Wakiki Wabbit, and Case of the Missing Hair. I don't remember what happened, but the tape was damaged at some point, leading to my losing most of Wabbit Who Came to Supper on that tape, making it a heavily coveted cartoon for me later on. You always want what you can't have. I also owned the Donald Duck Mickey Mouse tape, which included the iconic piece of wartime propaganda, Spirit of 43, as well as Susie the Little Blue Coupe, Hooked Bear, and the classic piece of real child nightmare fuel, Mad Doctor. I then had the Casper the Friendly Ghost tape, which included A Haunting We Will Go, There's Good Booze Tonight, Boo Moon, and Crazy Town. Okay, so I have to pull you aside now for a little side story here. Now, I cried a lot as a kid, a lot. And as an adult, the last 10 years or so, I just don't cry anymore. I just don't cry. I never cry. I don't know why. It's just not, my emotions just don't function. I'm sure there's a time, again, I will cry before I die, but what I'm getting at is the closest I come to crying, and seriously, I almost, I start doing like this kind of stuff to try to evade one of the only things in the world, and it did it 10 years ago and it still does it today, is the ending of the Casper cartoon, There's Good Booze Tonight. No matter how many times I watch it, no matter how many times I know exactly what's coming, the last little part of that cartoon gets to me emotionally, and I start to like feel my eyes well up a little bit. It's beautiful.
Stop! Stop! Don't hurt my Ferdy! He's my friend!
A ghost!
Ferdy! Ferdy! They're gone! Where are you? Ferdy! Ferdy! Are you all right? Oh, Ferdy! The only friend I ever had in my whole life. My poor Ferdy. Oh, Ferdy!
And so, Casper and Ferdy lived happily ever after.
I'm not crying, you're crying. Next in line was the Woody Woodpecker Mighty Mouse tape, which included Pantry Panic, Wolf Wolf, The Stupidstitious Cat, and The Talking Magpies. Interestingly enough, and don't ask how I still remember this, but the case for this tape had Stupidstitious Cat and The Talking Magpies out of order with how they actually appeared on tape. Public domain, am I right? And finally, I had the Daffy Duck tape, which included Yankee Doodle Daffy, Daffy the Commando, All's Fair at the Fair, and Daffy and the Dinosaur. Or rather, Daffy Duck and the Dinosaur. I never got that one right. Another oddity this tape had is that it failed to include All's Fair at the Fair on its case, implying there was only 3 cartoons available on the tape. These are the kind of things that happen when you slapdash content together like this. Beyond these 5 classics collection tapes, the other 2 tapes I owned from UAV were their Fun Time Kid video series releases of The Three Little Pigs and Mighty Mouse and Friends. I still don't know how, but when I was still very young, the Mighty Mouse tape disappeared. I still have no clue what happened to it. But I was happy in a very nostalgic moment to discover a copy of that exact VHS tape available for purchase online. This particular cassette included some of the previously mentioned cartoons such as Wolf Wolf and Stupidstitious Cat, but it also included the cartoons Leprechaun's Gold and Bimbo's Auto. The Three Little Pigs tape included Pigs in a Polka, iconic, Boy Meets Dog, Farm Frolics, and Doggone Tired. Nice little animal-centric VHS release from UVA. Once more, we have 2 cartoons out of sequence on the case to this video as well. Now, I can't be 100% positive about this, but I'm pretty certain, logistically, and it's just this is the way my memory is going. I'm pretty sure all of these VHS tapes I got that were primarily United American Video releases, I'm pretty sure I know where my mom, probably was my mom, the bottom, where she got those from. A couple months back, I returned to Fairview, which is this small town east of Portland where I grew up in, and I show where the Thriftway used to be. And we got everything, food and entertainment, we got it at that Thriftway there because it was right around the corner from our house. The only other place I could logistically think of my family buying any VHS tapes, there in the late 80s would have been at Zimmerman's, or Zim's as it was more known, but that was a few more miles out of the way. And I remember Zim's had a video rental store, which it blew me away that it was this video rental store that was part of this larger general retail store. And I just loved that as a kid. But I'm pretty sure all of those UVA VHS tapes my mom got. Again, there was at least like 7 or 8 that I owned in total. I'm pretty sure she bought all of those at that little Thriftway that was around the corner, which would make sense because that's where a lot of these tapes were showing up, was at these various retail stores, Thriftway, Safeway. I remember buying another public domain VHS collection. I bought it from the Food for Less by where we lived. Like, those were very common places for public domain cartoon videos to show up at. And the fact that United American Video was just churning the content out, and they just had a monopoly on how many different collections they were putting out, how many of those collections they were putting out. It doesn't surprise me at all that the videotapes my mom ended up buying me in those earliest years of life were pretty much all UAV tapes. It only made sense. This was almost exclusively what I grew up with. I'm willing to bet those of you 80s and early 90s kids, while maybe not recognizing these exact tapes, recognize a lot of these old public domain standards. It was the stuff we old school lower class kids ate up like candy. If we ever wanted to see some of the higher end copyrighted content from some of these studios, we had to settle for a Blockbuster rental. Those tapes were still running for $20 on VHS when you could pick up a mass-produced UVA cassette for a couple bucks. But finally, around the age of 8 or so, my mom started recording cartoons off of a block on Nickelodeon, which started my collection of the more well-known cartoons of the world, primarily Looney Tunes, which I watched often. Such started the beginning of my end watching these old public domain tapes. However, I do remember finding another 4 tape collections shortly before this time that was being sold at the Food for Less store by where I lived in Milwaukee. I was stunned to find copies of this collection available on eBay, as it seemed like such an obscure release, even for a public domain collection. It was called the Toontown Collector's Playhouse Collection, released by 3G Productions. It should be of no surprise that about 2/3 of the content on these tapes were already on my older UVA tapes, but I was a kid and I wanted them cartoons, no matter how I had to get them. I remember these tapes particularly being very rough, faded quality. Not just the cartoons, but the tapes as a whole. Even the black at the start looks like more of a gray from being a faded, dying tape stock. I get the feeling those tapes had been erased and recorded on over and over again. The last public domain VHS tape I ever got was in the late 90s, and it was called 50 of the Greatest Cartoons, released by Star Maker Entertainment, which, interestingly enough, combined with Video Treasures, which I mentioned earlier, to form Anchor Bay Entertainment. With this happening in 1995, I can only assume this VHS was released in 1995 or earlier, even though I feel I didn't get this VHS until around 1999. At 6 hours of content, recorded at extended play, you can take a guess as to the quality of this VHS. Fast forward many years ahead, when I moved away, or rather fled, from home in 2009, I left all of these old VHS tapes behind. I have no clue what became of them. They may be rotting away in a landfill somewhere, or possibly rotting away in some boxes, depending on what my dad decided to do with them. I found with age brings increased levels of nostalgia. I knew I'd get myself some hard copies of these old standards again someday. I found getting the old Warner Brothers, Looney Tunes, public domain cartoons on DVD collections are a little harder to come by, at least in terms of being mixed into larger public domain collections, but aside from that, I've managed to get a decent amount of these other old cartoons, again, on DVD, produced by newer companies, but still with the same oddities. So I just dug through this bag buried way in the back of my closet to try to find a DVD that I knew I had, but I knew when I moved a couple of years ago, I left a lot of DVDs behind. So I'm like, I don't even remember if I still have this. And I dug and I dug and I dug and I dug. And of course, at the bottom, the last DVD I pull out of the bag, in a bag full of like 60 DVDs, I found what I was looking for. Because I'm going to talk about my VHS experience, which is much more vast in terms of public domain cartoons. But I found this for super cheap a couple of years ago, and it has a lot of the cartoons that you would find on some of the things from my childhood. And this is a Mill Creek Entertainment, which is one of many known public domain companies that'll just churn out big collections like this, and a lot of the cartoons on here are really bad quality. One of my favorite cartoons, All Fairs at the Fair, I remember having that on a VHS tape. I had a UVA tape that was specifically centered on Daffy Duck, and the third cartoon was that, and it was a pretty good copy for VHS. The copy on here, the audio was just all jacked. But anyway, after digging and digging, because I remember I still had this, I found this piece of gold. 2 hours of cartoons. Mighty Mouse. Found it. The 200 cartoon collection is a Mill Creek Entertainment release from 2008, including 200 cartoons on 4 DVDs. Each disc on here contains over 5 hours of content, so obviously some sacrifices had to be made. In this case, it was sound quality. The static noise is strong with this collection, and some of my favorite cartoons on here have very distorted noise, either from being mastered at too high a volume or, in the case of one of my favorites, All's Fair at the Fair, the sound is ceaselessly wavering at a level that nearly makes the copy unwatchable. It's a sad day when you can say your old 80s VHS copy of the same cartoon was substantially better quality.
Come on, dog biscuit, we're off.
Overall, good in some spots, vastly weaker in others, but I'll take it for the $6 or so I dropped on it. Then there's that Treasure Box Mighty Mouse DVD. This one was a gem. The disc itself simply says Mighty Mouse over 2 hours with a stock number at the bottom. The case and disc both promote the content as exceeding 2 hours in length, while the back cover has a runtime of 120 minutes. Exactly 2 hours. The disc, in fact, has a complete running time of 2 hours, 5 minutes, and 33 seconds. The quality of the content is arguably better than my 200 collection, but still has its quirks, like this. I also love this little blip in the collection. Want to see something interesting from this DVD? Mighty Mouse, obviously Wolf Wolf is on here. So, makes sense. You hit play, and it starts with the iconic Wolf Wolf cartoon. With whatever the hell this is. So then you start skipping through the various cartoons on the disc. Start getting some more public domain fare. Little Lulu, or Little Audrey. And whatever this is. Oh, this is Little Lulu. Almost 28 minutes in, there's a repeat of the same Mighty Mouse cartoon. That's what you get with public domain. What's more oddball about this disc is how the content is organized. The disc is broken up into two sections. The first section, running a little over 75 minutes, is a mix of the typical public domain fare. Little Lulu, Little Audrey, Stupid Stitch's cat. But then, when this section ends and goes to the second, which runs about 50 minutes, we are suddenly introduced to a more contemporary animated representation of Pinocchio. This was followed by two foreign-produced cartoons. This second section had absolutely no correlation with the first, which, again, had your typical public domain fare. It's truly a distinct and kind of funny collection. And now, I feel it the perfect time for me to unveil my top 10 favorite public domain cartoons of all time. Obviously, my results may vary from yours, and my choices are heavily affected by the effects these cartoons had on me as a kid. So, with that said, let's get to the countdown. Number 10, Notes to You from 1941, Warner Brothers. 9, There's Good Booze Tonight from 1948, Famous Studios. 8, Crazy Town from 1954, Famous Studios. 7, Wolf Wolf from 1944, Terrytoons. 6, The Stupid Stitch's Cat from 1947, Famous Studios. Number 5, All's Fair at the Fair from 1938, Fleischer Studios. 4, The Talking Magpies from 1946, Terrytoons. 3, Pigs in a Polka from 1943, Warner Brothers. 2, Pantry Panic from 1941, Walter Lantz Productions. And number 1, Boy Meets Dog from 1938, Walter Lantz Productions. A critically panned cartoon with only a 5.8 on IMDb, Boy Meets Dog was produced by a toothpaste company, which would explain all of the tooth care references in it. But I think the strangeness of this short has served as a distraction against how powerful it actually is. The short is about a boy whose father is very controlling and abusive, but when the father is knocked unconscious, he's subjected to a dream world wherein he is put on trial for his abusive ways. It has very dark underlying content that was seldom ever addressed in such a direct and critical way, especially in a cartoon. In the 30s, when this cartoon was done, the abusive nature of some parents was one of the many things you, quote, just didn't talk about, unquote. This one had a definite effect on me, especially watching it as an adult and better understanding its content. It's definitely an iconic little piece of the public domain catalog. And I know, not one Bugs Bunny or Daffy Duck cartoon? I was surprised about that too. But hey, Looney Tunes gets all of my attention otherwise. Let these smaller forgotten studios have my unbridled public domain respect.
And I guess all that said, that's it. I mean, I discussed the history of these public domain companies. I showed my side of things, my connection to it. There's really not much more to talk about, I guess. So, I guess as usual, until next time. I did something bad. My God. What have I done?
Okay. You're probably wondering to yourself, how could something like this happen? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Okay, so I'm on eBay, and I'm looking up these old United American Video VHS tapes, just trying to get a flavor for what I once had, see some imagery for it, and then I see this pop up. Eight of them for $25, plus shipping and handling. You can't put a price on nostalgia. I mean, I can't, but you can't. And I became overwhelmed with this feeling. I was like, I have to do this. And simple click, and they were on their way. Then I start looking up other production or other distributors that were putting out similar content on eBay, just to, again, see the visuals, see the pictures, you know, get a flavor. And then I saw this. 8 tapes for $8. It's a buck a tape. So I figured, well, I'm in this deep, and before you know it, click, and suddenly those were on its way. And next thing you know, I have 16 old public domain VHS tapes in my possession. My tapes showed up all the way from South Carolina. And I went and I cracked them open, and it was just like immediate nostalgia. The moment I saw the little bit of red in the box, I was just thrown. It catapulted me back to growing up in Fairview at the end of the 80s and the early 90s. It was sublime. All right, so without investing too much into this, I got my hands on a VHS to computer converter to use to transfer directly from these VHS tapes to files on my computer. I also managed to bum the household VCR that we have that is over 20 years old, so there was a little bit of nervousness there, hoping everything would be okay. And the process of setting things up was actually fairly easy. I got a CD to download the software to use, but it wasn't working with my external DVD player. So I was a little frustrated, and then I went back and looked at the information and realized that in having a Mac, I actually don't need to download this software. I can just use my QuickTime player and adjust a couple things, and boom, I was ready to go.
I popped in a Popeye tape out of the collection I had, which was the one I was the least concerned about damaging, so it was kind of the test run. And the converter worked, so I was actually off and running pretty easily. The one negative in all of this, and I really haven't had this issue in the past up until now, was I could not get my computer, the QuickTime player, to record the audio that was actually like being played internally in the computer, which I have it set up to be able to do that, but for some reason, no matter how I adjusted it, it was constantly just picking up the audio from the microphone on my Mac. So every clip I have is not going to have the actual audio from the cartoon. It has come. I really taped this sumbitch up. Right down the middle. Oh boy. What is up with the loose pieces of cardboard? This is how my other one was. Oh, Lord Almighty. Oh no. The Great Eight, huh? God, it even smells weird. Oh, they like gift wrapped it for me. That is darling. Thank you. Enjoy, laugh, and have fun. Margie, be well. That is awesome. Just gonna have to rip this open. God. See, they churned them out. This is only one of 3 different libraries of tapes in the series. See, I got library A. There's still these. Like, they just churned them out. This smells so... It smells like a shoe store, but like a shoe store that sells used shoes. Oh my God, look at this setup. It's like you're opening like a... I don't know, a box of some random stuff, and there's just 8 videotapes just rammed into there. Yeah, no one will deny their packaging wasn't mediocre. And look at these, like, horrid cropping. Like, this is nightmare fuel, these, especially bugs. Like, bugs just did, like, a line. Wait, what the hell? What is the bottom here? Oh, these are old. Because they're weathered. These are old. These have been at the bottom of that thing since this came out. Good news. You get 8 books by Dr. Seuss and his friends. The Columbia House Video Club. Thank you, is what it says on the side. Thank you for purchasing our Great 8 value pack. If you are not satisfied with the quality of any of our individually recorded cartoon cassettes, due to a manufacturing defect, kindly return the individual cassette or cassettes in a separate package with your name, address, and reason for return to VidTape Inc., 124 Bell Street, I'm guessing that's West Babylon, New York, 11704. Attention, Value Pack Return Department. Please include proof of purchase. We are not responsible for damages due to shipping or transportation. We will promptly send you a replacement. Please allow 4 to 6 weeks for delivery of replacement. This offer is valid only within the continental United States. And at the bottom it says, down here, this video cassette has been duplicated on high quality tape. Yeah, I'm sure. Our technicians have made every effort to guarantee that the cartoons are as close to the original in quality and completeness as possible. Yeah, well, that doesn't really mean a lot if the original copy you got was trash to begin with. You know, they don't say like they remastered it or anything. They're just saying, however we got the cartoon, that's as good as it's going to be on one of these tapes. God, I love it. Yeah, they even have a public domain reference down at the bottom. These cartoons are public domain works and are not licensed by the original copyright holders. The cover illustration is not necessarily a reproduction of the actual contents of the cartoon.
Yeah. Very slick cartoons are fun. Very slick vid taping. Anyway, I didn't realize there was going to be that much extra stuff. But yeah, these tapes are, I mean, this, you know, a handful of grapes is heavier than these tapes are. But anyway, we've got a little Lulu tape. We got a Porky Pig tape. We got an Elmer Fudd tape. We got Porky's Railroad, Daffy Duck, Scrap Happy, a Superman tape. Hopefully that one will actually work. We got a Felix the Cat tape. And finally, of course, we got your Bugs Bunny. Let's listen to it. Oh, that's some great quality. I may actually have to adjust tracking. And it ain't doing much. I should have expected this. I don't even know if it's like adjusting. I feel like tracking was always like a placebo effect. God, this... Oh, wait, no, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so actually the tracking is fixing it. Kind of. That is a rough tape, though. Even now that I've got the tracking fixed, that is a rough tape. I actually want to hit rewind and actually, like, see... Because I didn't get to see the Cartoons Are Fun logo. This is my first time seeing it. I gotta see it. Yeah, it's still running rough. Ah, there it is. God, it looks just... It's a horrible quality. This is as good as it's getting in terms of me fiddling with the tracking here. This is as good as it's getting. Oh my God. The tape is playing, by the way. It's not getting stuck. It's going. And then it just went black. I'm so confused. Is that the end of the tape? That's right. They said later on... Yeah, this is just trash quality. Where does it go bad? I know they said some of their later tapes, which this is 93, they said only had 2 cartoons on them. I wonder if there's literally only like 2 cartoons. This tape is just jacked. Oh my God. All right, hopefully this thing works. Yeah, come on, Elmer Fudd. Jeez, yeah, it's not, it's like right out of the gate, it's not giving me anything. I'm gonna try another tape. Again, a Porky Pig tape. One of them. Whichever one isn't Porky's Railroad. Come on, don't be all screwed. Okay. Ah, see, it starts and then I lose it. Okay, wait. Okay, it's at least acknowledging, or it was. I don't know what I'm expecting. I blew on this tape like a video game cartridge. Yeah, no, I lose it. I lose it each time. What do I think? I think these Cartoons Are Fun tapes are evil, and they ruin this VCR because they are cursed as all hell. I mean, what series of public domain VHS tapes is more cursed than the Cartoons Are Fun series? So I'm just gonna shove you back in your box for the time being.
Such a janky setup. But it is what it is. Super value only $19.95. That would barely be a value by today's standards. Well, that sucked. But, you know, what can you do? Life goes on. And since these cartoons or fun tapes were absolutely no fun at all, I'm done with them. So, it's time to move on from that. And on that note, I need to go on another trip. Okay, you can turn the royalty-free music off. I'm not scared of this place anymore. Thank you. All right. Y'all better work. Iconic. What the hell is this? Why is it pink? That's random. I hope this tape isn't messed up. Oh, yeah. The hook ends are a little jacked. I strung the cord back here and it started working. So yeah, I think the hook end is a little messed up, but it's still functional. Yeah, the color is very, very bad. It's like coming and going. That could be just the age of the tape, but I'm also noticing their cartoons are cutting in very quickly. I don't remember that being the case. Like, you barely see any of the Merry Melodies thing. You just see it for a brief moment, and then it goes into the cartoon opening like this. I don't remember this tape being that way, but I haven't seen it in a long time, and these are things I wouldn't have really taken that much notice of as a kid. Well, nothing weird at the end of this first tape. Again, it's very unlikely that I'll find anything weird at the end of one of these tapes, but I'm hoping. Not necessarily porn. That's the great white whale of things I could possibly find. Like anything. I'm hoping to find anything. Previously recorded content on one of these tapes, and it's entirely possible that could happen.
I just put in this one. Now, I remember distinctively as a child, you know, something with public domain companies, you'd put the tape in, and the moment you'd hit play, there wouldn't be really any black at the start. You know, usually VHS tape, there's like, you know, 10 seconds of black at the start or something like that. But I remember putting in my this exact same copy, Woody Woodpecker, and Pantry Panic is the first cartoon on there. And when I would put this VHS tape in and hit play, Pantry Panic would like immediately start. There'd be like maybe a half a second of black. And that was kind of a reoccurring, you know, oddity among public domain producers. They would just have their content the moment the tape started. Of course, you know, I guess it saves them a little bit of money on tape, but I want to see. I'm going to hit record right out of the gate because I'm wondering if this one's going to be the same or if there's actually going to be black at the start. Let's find out together. Yeah, see, it's pretty quick. There's about a second or two of black. I remember mine even having less time at the beginning, but still you could see like not the usual VHS tape where there'd be like, you know, 10 seconds at least of black. Ooh, yeah, this tape's a little rough. The color so far in this one's a little bit better than the other two, though. The color was real dead in the other ones, and again, that might have been the tape. This VCR is also, they told me this is like a 1999 model, so this VCR is over 20 years old. I'm amazed I'm getting anything. Okay, so I have no clue what that other cartoon is that randomly cut in on this tape during the last cartoon, Talking Magpies. I actually, like, it was like the one moment where I stopped paying attention. I looked away and I looked back up and I realized there's a completely different cartoon playing. And it only cut in for a few seconds, and then it went back to Talking Magpies. And I was thinking at first, you know, because they didn't remove these tabs on these tapes here, which you remove those to keep someone from accidentally recording over one of these, or intentionally. So I thought, you know, maybe it's possible someone accidentally hit record on another cartoon and thought they had a different tape in, and it was accidentally this, and they, you know, recorded for a few seconds and then realized what happened. We're like, oh crap, and hit stop. However, when you have a tape in your VCR and you start recording on a general, you know, everyday VCR, when you first hit record and it first starts capturing the image, there's usually a rainbowy kind of, a little rainbow line you see. I'm sure there's some technical term for it. I don't know what it is, but pretty much when you hit record on your VCR, no matter what the tape is, no matter what tape speed you're recording at, you'll see that rainbowy line a little bit. And in this particular cartoon that pops up, that rainbowy line is not there at all. It looks like an actual cutoff. So either there was some weird screw up when they were processing their tape and their they could have had who knows what copies of different cartoons they had, but the version of Talking Magpies they could have been some random VHS copy that they didn't realize had another cartoon printed on it. Maybe this other cartoon accidentally got printed onto this a little bit because someone thought it was another thing. I mean, who knows? But I don't think that was somebody accidentally, at home taping over this tape. I think that was a genuine screw up of some kind that someone at United American Video actually did on this tape, because that's the way the cut looks. Alright, first time I put this tape in, it spit it right back out at me. It's like, I don't like spinach. Alright, well, this time around it cooperated. This is interesting. It's been rewinding a really long time without anything showing up. Or, you know, without it counting. Except 16 seconds. So I'm wondering if maybe there's 16 seconds worth of random stuff at the end of this tape. This tape could also just be really messed up and like it's only acknowledging certain little bits. We'll see. Okay, so it rewound, it only got to like 4 minutes in time and then it stopped and this junk popped up. So I'm very interested to see what the hell this is gonna look like if this tape is not all jacked up. Okay, it's yeah, it's I don't know what's up with this tape. Are you gonna eject? Yep, the tape got stuck. There was just something about this frickin' pipe thing. It spit the tape out the first time and then it wasn't rewinding right. Okay, I'm gonna have to do something about this. Well, I guess it wouldn't be the full public domain VHS experience if at least one tape didn't get eaten. So I'm gonna have to power this thing down. Fortunately, it looks like there's only like a few screws I have to undo. Just slip the back off and ease the tape out of there. Just peer down in here into this VHS. This is not my VCR, by the way, so no criticism for how dusty it is, but so this got pulled out and now it's stuck up under that thing. So actually it looked like it was hooked, I think, on this. You bastard. That's all. I really don't care at this point. Yeah, I noticed, so the tape was not, there was a reason why the counter wasn't really going, and it was not rewinding very far, so it obviously was getting stuck. Because if you look at the tape, you see it's barely rewound anywhere from the end. So I might try this one again. All right, show us what kind of sailor you are. I'm not expecting much. Okay, well, at least it ejected the tape. Yeah, look, you can see that it's all. Yeah, it does not like this tape. Look at that. Look, see, it's the same frayed marks. Yeah, it's just eating. It's eating its dragon. Next, I'm gonna pop in. This one kind of stands out from the bunch because most of these are Warner Brothers characters or, you know, whatever, but we got a Superman tape. The Man from Krypton. And I like that, at least, because this isn't on any other tapes, they show, like, what collection it is. They give Fleischer's, from Fleischer Studios, credit, because that's where, it was before they became famous studios. And this tape's right in the middle, so hopefully this one isn't gonna, I mean, in that case, it would probably more be there's an issue with the VCR than the tape. I'm just hoping no more tapes get chewed up. Don't fear, Superman, I'm here for you. Okay. I'm just gonna try hitting play. Okay, well, hopefully that's not an issue. What the? Okay, I'm just gonna try to play it and see if it's gonna cooperate. Okay, well, this tape's actually playing. All right. Next thing is to see if it rewinds properly. All right, that's a little more like it. I think this tape stuck too. No, it's acting fickle, like it's gonna eat the tape, but yeah, there's a little bit of a rift in there. I don't know if that was caused by the VCR, if that was already there, but okay. So I just got my first little clip done, and then I hit fast forward, and after like 2 seconds, the VCR started going, "Wah!" I can't even hit the octave. Ah, crap. And she blew. Did you eject okay? Yeah. Yeah, and I'm noticing, yeah. You see this, it's something's getting pulled or scratched and marked there, because I'm noticing that when, like, same thing on the Superman tape. If I could just pull it up here for you, because it did that same thing where it locked up, and yeah, so you can see that kind of, it's doing that same thing. So something about a couple of these tapes just ain't vibing with this VCR. So that's about all we're getting out of these for now. We've got the good, the bad, and the ugly. I noticed this is the case for all these tapes. Each one of them doesn't have the tab removed, because who's got the time for that? There's all 8 of them. And it's interesting. This one, the Daffy Duck one, is the only one that has a label like this. The rest of them have labels like this. With the, they all have the classic best possible picture. You know, they always are, on the cheaper cassettes, they were always reminding you, adjust your tracking, because you were probably going to get a kind of crappy tape. And they all say, do not take to local retailer. Except, of course, on the Daffy Duck one. And the Daffy Duck one actually has the United American Video logo on it. There's also this little notice on here. 30-day limited warranty from purchase date. Should this video be defective, return to place of purchase for exchange of same title. So I guess you can't just get your money back, you just get another copy of the same crap video. The other tapes have a comparable sticker on them. 30-day limited warranty from purchase date. Should this video be defective, not from misuse or accidental damage. So if you mess if you or your VCR messes your tape up, that's on you. Return it with the sales slip. So this is actually different instructions. They're saying like return it, or actually they may still be saying the same thing. No, they're saying send it back to the original place, United American Video, Charlotte, North Carolina. I also noticed a 1987 copyright date, which just seems to be the case for all of these, except the Daffy Duck one is a copyright 1989. Are the addresses even the same? Yeah, no. See, this is P.O. Box 7563, Charlotte, North Carolina. This is P.O. Box 7647, Charlotte, North Carolina. 28241 is the... so yeah, so they're not even the same information. So this is a video that's copywritten 2 years later than these other 7 videos, and yet it's part of the same collection. Those are the strange things I love. So in that vein, I also noticed, with Popeye being the odd one out, as it seems to be in every circumstance, it doesn't have anything right here. But these other 6 cases have this little black writing on them. You can see on all these. Now, these are all these cassettes that are dated 1987 with a different, literally a different return address. And yet, this information here all says 1989 packaging. So that leads me to believe that these VHS tapes here were all specifically put out and sold in 1989, because that's the copyright date for the cases they went into. If these weren't produced till 1989, that means these weren't being sold. These specific ones weren't being sold until 1989. So in the case of, say, Foghorn Leghorn and Tweety Bird, which has this 1989 address, but then it has this information on the videotape saying copyright 1987 and saying, should the tape be defective, send it back to this address. But by 1989, their address was different. So if this tape was defective and you mailed it back to the address given, it wouldn't even get back to United American Video. So like, you probably would send this in expecting something in return, and you would get nothing, because it wouldn't even get to them, because they were at a different address by that point, or they had a different post office box by then. I don't even know if that's shrewd on their side. They may have just been churning out VHSs. These could have been, extras, ones that got sent back, extra bulk. They just shoved them into cases and printed off new stuff. And that makes sense, because this Daffy Duck one, pardon me for rambling, but when I had these tapes as a kid, this was the sticker that all the tapes had. I distinctively remember that. They didn't have these. They had the ones that had the red line. They had the UAV logo. And this is the only one that's actually dated 1989. So it's just crazy. It's a bad omen. I was never here.